It's finally here, folks. It's finally here. That's right. The 2025-2026 Europa Conference League, with some clubs finally getting the European adventure up and running. Who will get off to the best possible start? Who will get that? Do an absolute whopper. We'll take a look at that and much more next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we take a look at Matchday number 1. That's right, over in the Conference League, and we'll get to it in just 1 second. If you're new, where you been? Hit the old subscribe. You want to subscribe for Conference League, Rovers, whoa, football. We're going to, here, under one Ruski, of course. Yes, other European leagues and, of course, competitions are up and running. But now is, of course, looking forward to match number 1 of the Conference League. And, of course, the best way to get going is to get your first 3 points on the board. Who will do that? Well, we'll showcase you those in just 1 second. Big shout out to the members. Big shout out to the patrons. You know who you are. But now let's jump into the vortex and have a look at what we're talking about. We are talking about this. That's right. It is the Conference League, and it is coming at you this coming week. That's right. Busy week across Europe, including domestic leagues and European action, including this one. So let's take a look, though, at the clubs that make up this year's competition. Well, they are these. Coming at you in a bit of a weird order, but we're testing my badge knowledge. Here we are. Aberdeen, Fiorentina, Larnaca, Athens, that's right. AZ Alkmaar, Bratislava. We got Crystal Palace, University Cracovia, Dynamo Kiev, Noah Yerevin. We have Shakhtar Donetsk, Mainz, BK Häcken. We have Hamrun Spartans, HNK Rijeka. We have Sportiski Mostar, Jagiellony Białystok. We have FC Drita, Lech Poznan out of Poland. We have Kups, Lausanne-Sport, Legia Warsaw, Lincoln Red Imps, Silige are in then, Omonia Nicosia, Rayo Vallecano, Rayo Kraskovia, Samsunspor out of Turkey, Shamrock Rovers, and Shelbourne out of Ireland, KF Shakhtar, Rapid Vienna, Sigma Olomouc, and Slovan Bratislava, Slavia Prague, and RC Strasbourg. That's right. So those are your clubs. That's the hard bit. Now, of course, the next bit, which is, of course, the Picarinos. Of course, we're going to take a look at match number 1. This is it. The games are coming at you this coming Thursday, the 2nd of October. So no rest for the wicked. We're going to get in there and predict what we think is going to happen this coming week. So let's get into the deep end and take a look at the first one. It is over to Poland. Lech Poznan taking on Rapid Vienna. Niels Fredriksson is the coach for Lech Poznan coming into this. Of course, just 1 defeat in the last 5 matches in all shapes and all sizes. Up against SK Rapid Vienna. Peter Sloger there, unbeaten in at least the last 6 matches. But they're coming into this, both sides coming into this on the back of draws. I say that a little early. Both sides have yet to play their domestic game in their respective leagues, the Polish League and the Austrian League. Yeah, both sides, I think they do are anticipating at least a good run at this Conference League to maybe finish in that top 8. Remember, top 8 go through to the first round proper. Then, of course, the next batch of 16 clubs will have to duke it out to a playoff. I think both of these clubs will have eyes on that top 8. But, of course, getting a win is a Kurishka win the first one. The bookies for this one, we do have odds, and the odds go slightly in favour of Lech Poznan. I've gone with a win for them as well. 2 winners to open up the floodgates for the Poles. That's right. Let's go to Dynamo Kiev as they take on Crystal Palace, of course. Coming at you, possibly, I don't think it's going to be in Ukraine, I don't know. But anyway, they are the hosts, of course, coming into this. Unbeaten in at least the last 6 matches, that's Kiev. In fact, they haven't lost in any of the last 6, but they have drawn 3 of the last 4. Up against Crystal Palace, who are unbeaten in at least the last 10. They're on 83% form for them right now, including 3 wins on the spin, that's right. Yet to take on each other, but of course, in the dugouts, we have Alexander Shakovsky up against Oliver Glasner, that's right. Now, of course, Palace are fresh off the back of that last gasp winner against Liverpool. Dynamo Kiev on the back of a 3-3 draw against Karpate in the domestic top flight in Ukraine. The bookies odds give it with Crystal Palace here. I think it's a tricky old game, this. I don't think Crystal Palace will lose. I just don't know if they'll win this one. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 score here. Of course, I'm not too sure where the game's going to take place, but we'll see. And, of course, point in the bag. It's a marathon and not a sprint. That's what I say. Meanwhile, Rayo Vallecano, they're going to be taking on Shakhtar Torrevejo, that's right. Coming at you over in Spain, that's right. Igno Perez's Vallecano coming into this. They're on 33% form for them right now. Winless in the last 4. Up against Shakhtar, who are unbeaten in the last 5. They're yet to take on each other, but Shakhtar, the visitors, haven't lost in any of the last 5 matches, but Vallecano haven't lost in any of the last 7 home matches. Wow, wow, wee, wow. They're coming into it on the back of a defeat to Athletic Bilbao, but again, they haven't taken on this weekend's opponents in La Liga, which is Sevilla. They're expected to win that game, of course, also being at home. Shakhtar also in action up against their domestic opponents, Silit Calvio, but the bookies will go with Vallecano on this one, as will I think. 2-1 win. Not as impressive as you would imagine, but enough to get the party started over in Spain. Meanwhile, Omonia Nicosia taking on Mainz, that's right, out of Germany. Henning Berg, of course, ex-Rovers player, ex-Rovers coach, coming into this winning 3 on the bounce, just 1 defeat in the last 5. Up against Mainz and Bo Henriksen, 1-1. Actually, they've only won once in the last 4. Coming into this, of course, yet to take on each other, these two sides. Over in Cyprus, the Cypriots are on the back of a 5-0 win over AEL Limassol, but they are taking on Atheros Famagusta this coming match day over in the Cypriot top flight. Meanwhile, Dortmund were Mainz's last opponents back on the 27th. They did lose, did Mainz. So they're hoping to bounce back on this one. Don't have any odds here, but I have actually maybe got basic odds. Basic odds go in favour for Mainz for the visitors. I don't think it's that easy. I think Omonia Nicosia might give them a game, but I'm going to give it a 2-0 win. In the end, and of course the Bundesliga team should really outmuscle them. Meanwhile, Jagiellonian Bratislava taking on Spartans, coming out of Malta. But this match over in Poland, of course, Adrian Simonec is the coach there, unbeaten in the last 6 at least. But when you look deeper, it's actually unbeaten in the last 6 home matches, unbeaten total in the last 13 matches. Spartans, though, and Giacomo Moreira, the Italian, also coming into as unbeaten in at least the last 9 matches. Again, never played each other, these two sides. The Spartans are on the back of a 2-0 win over Hibernians, and they haven't conceded a goal in the last, 5 matches. Jagiellonian Bratislava also on the back of back-to-back clean sheets, just 1 goal conceded in the last 4. Bookies for this one will go with Lech Poznan. Actually, Jagiellonian Bratislava are taking on Lech Poznan, where they're expected to lose that game, but they'll bounce back with a win over the Spartans quite convincingly. I'm going to go with the win as well. Might be a comfortable one. 3-0 win. In the end, Noah Yarvin taking on Rijeka, coming at you over at Armenia. Is that right? Sandro Perkovic is the coach there. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. Because Rijeka, Victor Sanchez, the coach, just 1 win in the last 6. Of course, Yarvin on the back of that big 2-1 win over Van. They are taking on Adiat Yarvin today. As for Rijeka, on the back of a 0-0 draw against Istra, they haven't won since they beat Masameya Zagreb in the Croatian Cup back in the 17th of September. So a bit of a time there. Bookies on this one, we'll see it tight, but they go with Yarvin on this one. I'm also going with a 2-1 win for the hosts to give their campaign up and running. Meanwhile, Zrinjski Mostar taking on Lincoln Red Imps, coming at you out of Gibraltar. This one, of course, coming at you in Mostar here. Zrinjski, Igor Stimac is the coach, unbeaten in at least the last 7. They've won 5 of the last 6 up against Lincoln Red Imps. Juan Berzazas, who's the coach there, who's Spaniard. 3 wins for them on the bounce, of course. Coming into this on the back of a 7-0 win over the Magpies. They're taking on Europa Point this coming match day in Gibraltar. Lincoln Red Imps are the next opponent for Zrinjski Mostar, and of course they're expected to lose, and probably expected to lose quite heavily. So we're going to back Zrinjski Mostar here. 3-1 win. Give them the point, give them a goal, but that's about it for the Gibraltar visitors. Meanwhile, Cups, they're going to be taking on KF Drita, that's right, coming in Finland. Jarkko Vis's boys on back-to-back wins for them. Up against KF Drita, managed by, what have we got here? Zakeda Ramadan, just 1 win in the last 5. Net to get to play each other, these two sides coming into this. Cups are on the back of that 4-0 win over Gnistan in the domestic top flight. Up against Drita, who did lose to Balkani this previous match week. They're taking on Duka Kanji in the top flight this weekend. Not too sure if they're going to win that one or not. But the bookies for this one, they'll go with Cups. They are favoured. Not too sure myself on this one. Yeah, I'm leaning towards Cups. Just 2-1 winners for them as well to move the bloody chains. Let's go to Switzerland, that's right, as Lausanne-Sport take on Bredebic, coming at you out of Iceland, that's right. Lausanne-Sport managed by Peter Zeidler, just 1 win in the last 4 for them. Up against Bredebic and Haldor Almarsson, the Icelander, of course, a winless in the last 5, but they've drawn 4 of those last 5. They're coming into on the back of one of those draws. It's actually been 3 draws on the spin for the Icelandics. Bredebic, meanwhile, Lausanne-Sport on the back of that 4-1 win over Concordia. That was in the Swiss Cup, round of 32. They're taking on Sion this weekend. But of course, got no odds for this. Or it doesn't look like it. I have basic odds, actually. Lausanne-Sport should win this game. I've gone with a tight 1-2-0 winners as well to, of course, move the chains. Let's go to Fiorentina now over in Italy as they take on Olomouc. Stefan Pioli's boys are just 1 win in the last 5 to back-to-back defeats for them. Up against Olomouc, managed by Thomas Jakonka, winless in the last 4. Both sides need a result, and both sides need one fast. Fiorentina did lose to Como most recently, but they're taking on Pisa tonight. They're expected to win that game. Meanwhile, Olomouc drew with Bohemians Prague this past match day. All eyes on this now for the visitors. The bookies odds on this one. What do we have on this one? Fiorentina. Expected to win this one, of course. Yes, they are. Heavily fancied here. Fiorentina. I've gone with a 3-1 win as well. So we'll see if I'm right or wrong, of course, when we come back. Meanwhile, we go to Larnaca, AEK Larnaca. They're going to be taking on AZ Alkmaar. Of course, coming at you over in Cyprus. Larnaca managed by Emmanuel Indekiz. Just one defeat in the last 5 for them. Up against AZ Alkmaar managed by Martin. Martin's the coolest name in town. Unbeaten in at least the last 12. But they're coming into on back-to-back draws. They drew with Feyenoord. They drew with Zwolle. Both of those games were at home. They're taking on Nijmegen tonight. They're expected to win that game as well. As for Larnaca, on the back of a 4-0 win over Krasovnia Ljubljanis. The domestic top flight there for Larnaca. They're expected to, on this game, it's a tight one. But AZ Alkmaar should win this game. I think I've gone with a draw. That's right down the middle. Got to give him a little bit of credit, the host on this one. Meanwhile, a struggling Aberdeen taking on a Shakhtar Donetsk. That's right. Coming over at Petodry. That's right. Jimmy Tillin, 5 defeats in the last 6. Winless in the last 7. Up against Shakhtar Donetsk, unbeaten in at least the last 7. They've won 4 of the last 5 as well. Managed by Arda Turan. They're coming into on the back of that 1-0 win over Zola Lugashnisht. They're taking on Ruka Lviv tonight. As for Aberdeen on the back of that 2-0 loss to Motherwell. Back to back. That's actually... they haven't even scored a goal in 6 games, Aberdeen. They are absolutely dreadful right now. Coming into this, though, this is Aberdeen. It is Petodry. Shakhtar Donetsk, massively fancy. Did I go there? Hopefully I went there. I went with a 2-1 win. I gave Aberdeen a goal, which does look like it's not going to happen as well. So it could be the end for Jimmy Tellin, that's right, in the Aberdeen dugout. Meanwhile, Slovan Bratislava, they're going to be taking on Strasbourg. A bit of a game of the day right here, right now. Slovan Bratislava, managed by Vladimir Weiss, unbeaten the last 5, picking up 4 wins at that last 5. Up against Strasbourg, Liam Rosina, they've won 4, they lost 2 over the last 6. They do come into this on the back of a defeat to Marseille, up against Slovan Bratislava, who picked up a 2-1 win over Tension in their domestic top flight. The bookies odds will give it tight, I would imagine, on this one. They go with Strasbourg being the favourite. I'm not too sure about that. Go with a 2-2 draw myself, because Slovan Bratislava can be quite tricky, especially at home. We're going to go to Legia Warsaw now as they take on Samsunspor, of course, over in Poland. Edwan Urianescu coming into this, just 1 defeat in the last 6 for them. However, drawing 3 of the last 5. Up against Samsunspor, just 1 win in the last 6. Also 1 defeat in the last 6. Both sides kind of similar kind of form. A lot of draws knocking around between these two sides. Legia Warsaw did draw with Jagiellonian Blasztysz, taking on Pogon Zenchin today. They're expected to win that game. Up against Samsunspor, who took on Gaziantep last night, picked up a draw there, 2-2 in the end. Bookies odds for this one, tight. They go with the hosts. I'm going with them as well. I think 2-0 winners. Legia also should have too much in the tank. Meanwhile, Sparta Prague. When I say, yes, Sparta Prague taking on Shamrock Rovers, come over in the Czech Republic. Brian Prisky is the coach there for Sparta Prague. They won 3 in the bounce, just 1 defeat in the last 5 up against Shamrock Rovers. Stephen Bradley is the coach, unbeaten in at least the last 10. They've actually taken on Sparta Prague twice since 2024. Sparta Prague winning both of them. Coming at you with a 4-2 win when they last played at this venue back in July 2024. Sparta Prague on the back of that 3-0 win over Ostrava. Shamrock Rovers on the back of that 2-1 win over Bohemians. This one goes in favour of Sparta Prague quite heavily as well. I've gone 3-1 win myself. Sparta Prague could be a serious contender for that top spot in this league. Meanwhile, Salij, they're taking on AEK Athens. That's right, coming at you. Albert Riera's boys are unbeaten in at least last 8. They've won 5 of the last 6. They're on 92% form for them right now. I guess AEK Athens under Marko Milatovic, also on 92% form. They're unbeaten in the last 15 matches. They picked up a 2-1 win over Panathinaikos this past weekend, or previous weekend, should I say. They're taking on Volos this weekend. They're expected to win that game. Salij on the back of that 3-0 win over Maribor. They've scored 9 goals. 9 goals. Hold the phone. 13 goals in the last 4 games combined, averaging 3 goals a game, if not more than that, actually. 3 and a bit goals a game. Into this one, though, it's tight. Very, very tight. Bookies are just about giving it to Athens here. I'm not sure. I'm also going down the middle. 1-1, right down the air then. Of course, last couple here, Rakow Kushkovia. They're going to be taking on University Krakova. Of course, come at you. this coming match. I don't see it on my menu. There it is. There it is on my menu. Kraskovia managed by Mariet Paspazin. Winners in the last 4, but on 50% form for them right now. 1-2 lost to and drawn to over the last 6. Up against University Cracovia, Mirio Radol out of Romania. Just 1 win the last 4 for them. They're on the back of a draw themselves, taking on Dynamo Bukareski. Most recently, Czechchovia also on the back of a 2-2 score against Lech Poznan. The bookies for this one, they go with Kraskovia, the hosts here, heavily backed. Gone with the 2-1 win myself, alongside the bookies. And then finally, it's Shelbourne. They're going to be taking on HNK Gothenburg. That's right. Come at you over in Ireland. Joseph O'Brien's boys are there. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. Up against HNK Gothenburg, 2 wins, 2 defeats in the last 4 matches, including a win last time around against Nordkopping. Meanwhile, Shelbourne are on the back of a 2-1 win themselves over Waterford to make it both sides on the back of victories here. Bookies odds here, they go with Hackenberg. That's right. But this, of course, is in Ireland. So I don't think it's going to be plain Jane. I'm actually going to go the other way. 2-1 winners. Shelbourne taking the win. And of course, if I'm right, this is what the table will look like. And after match number 1, it'll be bottoms. Shamrock, Sparta, Samsunspor, and Rapid Vienna. Going to the top end of the table, though, it will be Jagiellonian Matchday. It'll be Fiorentina, Sparta Prague, Mostar, Mainz, Lausanne-Sport, Lech Poznan, and Legia. Also, it's a very, very Polish-heavy top 8 with 3 of the 8 representing Poland. But that's it, guys. So make sure you subscribe, especially like wherever you are in the world. We'll be back for match number 2 when, of course, it comes around. But until then, I'll see you soon whenever I return. But until then, I am done.